Have you ever stood in front of your closet for 20 minutes trying to find something to wear? And in that 20 minutes, you get so frustrated that instead of wearing anything new, you just go back to the regular t-shirt and jeans that you usually wear. No extra razzle dazzle because you've exhausted all your creativity in trying to look through that closet in the first place. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's exactly how it is when you have unforgiveness blocking your creativity. It literally clutters our minds to the point where even trying to think outside the box is just too much. It is already mental overload, emotional overload. Everything is running on fumes because unforgiveness is taking up space. It literally takes up space in your mind. I am going through a series. It's going to be a series of videos. This is part two in that series on how forgiveness impacts your creativity. And we're really going to be focusing in today's video about the clutter that happens when unforgiveness is stuck up there. So, before I get into the details of this video, I want to extend the invitation to the Getting Unshy Collective because this is a part of the framework that I take creatives through that helps them to express themselves more boldly, to be more consistent, taking your ideas from ideation to the actual creation of that thing, and to do it in a way where you get to fully express yourself and who you are. The collective is relaunching this fall, and I am so excited to open the doors to some new creators because this framework, Getting Unshy, is really the thing that I stand by. I'm gonna stick beside it because it has been the thing that's helped me to come outside of my shell again, to really own who I am and to be bold and to be as creative as I can be. Every day, every time I create something, I'm getting more and more courageous. And that's something that I want each creative to experience as entrepreneurs. So, if that's something that interests you, keep on listening because this video is going to really help you to start to declutter so that you can be more creative. Hey, Adrian. Happy Friday. It's so good to see you. How are you doing today? I'm so excited, y'all. I be missing YouTube when I'm not here. I really do. I be missing y'all faces. Well, your names. I can't see y'all faces. One day I'll see y'all faces. But yeah, happy Friday. Thank you for coming in. So, before I get into today's topic, let me know where you're watching from and let me know what it is that you do. What is your business? What is your creative endeavor? Like how do you create? How do you create? What do you create? That's the question. That's how I want to phrase it. So let me know where you're from, where you're watching this from, and let me know what it is that you create. Like how do you use your creativity to make the world a better place? Okay? All right. While you're typing that, we're going to move on to our next part of this. And we're going into the experience that I've had with creativity and forgiveness lately. Actually, not necessarily creativity, even though it's impacting it. What I really want to talk about though is this forgiveness tour that I've been on with myself. Okay. So I've mentioned maybe in the last video, I definitely have mentioned it to my email list. How this has been a season where things are coming up for me that I in real life thought that I had forgiven. Like that's the first part. Like first and foremost, I be feeling like I'm good, I'm past this stuff. But then certain things come up, reminders have been coming up that have been revealing to me this is something that you still are struggling to forgive. And the struggle really is not that big of a struggle. It really is the fact that I didn't acknowledge it. I wasn't aware of it, or it was something that happened so long ago that I didn't realize that it still had an impact or was playing a role in the decisions that I was making and even just how I was moving. But it always reminds me of the saying, the body keeps the score. I still haven't read that book, but I understand the premise of it. And I'm gonna speak to that. So you know how they say that it remembers, like it stores experiences, whether those are positive experiences or negative experiences. Your body still reacts and responds to those experiences, and even though you're not consciously making certain decisions, the way that things happen to you, the things that you maybe want to avoid, whether it was discomfort, discouragement, disappointment, maybe it felt like a failure, maybe you do consider it to be a failure, even things that are good. Like I said, it does not necessarily negative things, but because we're talking about forgiveness, I do feel like I'm going to probably lean more into the negative stuff for these videos, but your body still remembers it. And it's been some interesting studies on rewiring your brain, and how your brain is always evolving. It's always creating new neural pathways, and I've been really like nerding out on that topic. And it's all starting to come together in the space where the common thread is forgiveness. Like the common thread is forgiveness, and not just forgiveness, but the things that accompany forgiveness, like shame, resentment, bitterness, just general fear and anxiety. All of these things they're like, it's like cousins. They all roll together, and how all of these things are like systematically just like two-piecing us when it comes to the things that we want to do. And so I've been really like, new things have been coming up, especially as I journal, that are interesting, because I didn't realize that these were still things that I was feeling. And so the not last week, but maybe like 2 weeks ago, it had all kind of like just come to like this really big moment, even though it didn't feel like a big moment, but it felt like all these things started coming to like the surface. And so the that week in particular, it felt like it just felt like a drain. Like I felt like it felt heavy, but not necessarily like I was carrying a lot. It felt like I was like enduring a lot. Like, you ever had like a workout where it wasn't a particularly like hard workout, at least it didn't feel like it in the moment. But when you get up the next day, you feel it. You're like, "Ooh, like, why am I sore?" And like, what is my shoulder doing? And like, what did I do yesterday? Right? You start moving your body around, trying to, recall what happened yesterday. And then you remember, oh yeah, I worked out. That's how that intense week of forgiveness was going for me. And I was at a place where I had to be very honest with myself about the fact that I still felt a way about this thing that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I've had experiences that occurred as an entrepreneur where, yeah, I was very early in my journey as an entrepreneur, and of course I didn't know any better, but I'm still making myself pay for those choices. I'm still making myself pay for those decisions. So let's not do too much. Like, let's keep it cute. And this is a small tangent, y'all. Small tangent, but indulge me for a second, okay? Because I've been thinking about creativity so much more lately, and why I have been finding myself continuously coming back to this topic and like really going in on the creativity piece. And I know that a big part of it is because the creatives, the key to making it through this season that we're in right now, especially when it comes to the economy, is going to be creativity. We need creativity, and we need it so desperately, because we are now in a place where everything is the same. Everything is so homogenous. Everybody's doing what everybody else was doing, and then those people do what everybody else is doing that everybody else is doing, and it feels like everything is just like a copy, 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 trend, this, like add this, tweak this a little bit, maybe if they tweak it. But it's just feeling like it's not like fresh. It just feels like we're just being served the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And even doing the same things, right? And expecting that those same results when we're in a new season. And I don't even know if people are really picking up on that, but we're in a new season, y'all. Like, has anybody else just like, if you've picked up on the fact that this is not the same season that we was in 2020. We have entered into a different space, and we now have to be creative in how we navigate it because this is new territory. How is the same thing that's been working? It's some of the stuff hasn't been working, but we just keep doing it anyway. But how's the same stuff that's been working in one season going to work in this season now? I think about it almost like I just saw what you said. Hey, Sullivan man. I think about how like if we think about seasons and clothes, right? We have certain things that we wear in the summertime, right? Summertime, and this is the perfect conversation because we are slowly leaving summer, which does not make me happy. Y'all fall lovers, not too much, okay? Not too close to me because I don't like it because I don't like the winter. But let me stay on track. Sorry. You think about the seasons and you think about what you wear in the summertime versus what you wear in the fall or what you wear in the winter. You change physically what you wear. Your clothes change, your skincare regimen changes, the way that you even move about your life slows down when it starts to get colder. You eat different foods, like everything, you do things differently when you're in a new season. And thinking about the way that I'm starting to get like an idea as I'm talking about this, but thinking about the way that you have to even be mindful of, okay, it's starting to get colder outside, especially like the transition seasons. It's starting to get a little bit chillier outside, but it's not necessarily full fall weather, right? So now I got to get creative with having a jacket that looks good with this outfit, but knowing when I leave from work or when I go out in the afternoon, it's going to be a completely different temperature. It's going to be about at least 15 degrees warmer than it was when I left this morning. So now I got to be creative. I got to think, what can I wear? What outfit can I wear? How can I layer this for the morning? But it'll still translate to a decent outfit in the afternoon or in the evening, right? Like that involves creative thinking, problem solving. And so if we have that approach when it comes to how we dress ourselves during the change of the seasons, it means so much more when it comes to the seasons changing in a bigger sense, in a more global sense. Really, like globally, it's like what is happening here. So this desire from me anyway to see people be more creative, be more courageous, be more bold, be willing to try something new, be willing to do something different. I feel like this is all making sense for the times, right? And so I feel like that's a big reason why I'm going so hard on this right now. And I haven't had a chance to verbalize all of that. I just kind of started this series and just like went with it. So I appreciate y'all letting me kind of work that out of my head because I wanted to explain the importance of it and why it matters, just in case you weren't aware that what we need desperately right now is your creativity. We need your way of thinking. We need your unique approach. We need your ideas that might sound crazy in your head, but what we really need you to do is like try it. Like see how it does. Give it a shot. Give it a chance. Like that at this point, we really just need to exhaust our options, right? So just to reel it back in, bring it back to the topic at hand. I've been in this season and recognizing all of the things that I have experienced and felt that are still dictating the choices that I'm making for myself and for my business, right? And I just want to ask y'all, like, if you can relate to that feeling of it feels like I want to do this thing so desperately. I want to try this new idea. I want to put out this program, or I want to put out this product, but I'm scared. And being honest about the fact that what you're feeling is you're scared. Feeling I feel afraid to try something new. But I really want to. I feel it here. I think about it during the day. I dream about it at night. I've written about it in my journal, but it feels like when I try to do it, something stops me. Like it feels like I can't get enough momentum to really see if this is something that's viable. If there's anybody that feels like that, just put me in the chat or put a hand up. Put a hand up so I know that y'all feel what I'm talking about. Like I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. I feel like this is one of those topics, one of those times, and I try to be like this with no matter what I create. But I feel like there are certain things that come to my mind that I can't let go of because it needs to be said in this season. Like it's something that's timely, and I feel like this is one of those things. I feel like there are people who are experiencing a block. You're experiencing what you perceive to be a block, right? Or you're perceiving resistance to your ideas. You're feeling, what's some other things that you might be feeling? You might be feeling overwhelmed. You might feel like when you do try something new, you're immediately exhausted. I think that's one of the sneakier ones because it comes in this disguise as rest, that like you needing rest, which I'm not saying you don't need rest, but it shows up and you experience it as, oh, maybe I'm just tired, or maybe it's just I'm just feeling overwhelmed, I'm just feeling exhausted. But the drain is really because you're battling your body trying to protect you, your mind trying to protect you from being disappointed. Because it remembers, like, no, don't know what, hold up. You remember you tried that last time. It ain't do too good. You remember you was hurt over that. Like you shed a few tears over that one. So maybe we should just stay away from that and play where it's safe. Yeah. Ah, hey Randy. Yeah, part. Okay. Okay. So this is, yeah, so this is timely then. It's timely. I wasn't tripping. And this is why I want y'all to stay tuned for this series. If you didn't see the first video, it's more like an introduction video, but still check it out because I go through all of the reasons why forgiveness is going to be a critical part of your business plan. Okay, if you are creative and you are endeavoring to pursue anything, forgiveness needs to be a part of your strategy. It needs to be a part of it. Otherwise, everything that you come up with, every idea you write down and get excited for, it is going to get stopped at the door. Okay, because you have to first address the issues that you have built up, stored here, so that your body gives you permission to move forward with this, so that you can be courageous and actually put it out. Okay. When you feel like you don't have everything you need, that's actually very interesting. That's actually very interesting. Mm. I like that you said that, Randy. I had to write that down because something came to my mind when I read that. Hold on. Okay. So, y'all, let's talk a little bit about the psychology behind it as I write this. Let's talk about the psychology behind it. So, I had to make sure that I came with receipts. Okay, receipts, because I know how people like to be when you bring up topics like this, especially when you start talking about mental things, when you start getting into some of the psychological things. And it's fair to challenge people. I'm not going to say that it's not fair, but I did want to make sure that I had this idea, but I wanted to show y'all that no, this is really scientifically backed. Okay. Forgiveness it needs to be a part of your strategy. If you are a creative, it needs to be a part of your strategy. So early psychologists have done studies that show you lack the space, like literally like the brain, the bandwidth in your brain to process the information needed to solve problems, right? Because as we know, if you don't know, creativity really is just problem solving. It is finding solutions to problems. That's all creativity is. You don't have to be an artist per se. You don't have to be a designer per se to be creative. But I think that this would be especially relevant for those people who identify as artists. So it takes up your space to be able to process the information and to solve problems in an effective way. And so the psychologists did this study, and they gave people like a series of challenges to solve, right? But prior to them solving these problems, I think they interviewed the people, and they caught them at times where they were like particularly distressed. So whether they got into an argument with somebody, which arguments with friends, with partners, that can absolutely take a hit on your ability to do anything new. And I think that's why doing anything like during a breakup, if you are able to still create during a breakup, you are really a rock star, because the amount of space that takes up in your head and in your heart, insane. But anyway, so they made sure that the people had already gone through a particularly like distressing time, and then they had them solve these problems like immediately after that. And what they found is that the people were either struggled to solve the problems, or they were unable to come up with a solution to it that was really their best. Like they're just not able to perform at their best or to think of these problems creatively, versus the people who had gone through, there was like this process, like this experiment that they have that literally measures forgiveness, which is pretty cool. And they found that the people who had forgiven before taking that same test were able to solve the problems more creatively. They were even able to like think outside the box when it came to their solutions, and they performed better, like by far, right? And it was, it's so cool because I know for a fact that when I've forgiven myself for certain things, it feels like something unlocks in me where it's like, okay, I'm willing to try this again. I'm willing to do this again. One way that I've definitely seen this happen when it comes to fashion, because a lot of times people don't realize that your style, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your body, how you feel about your financial status, all of those things play a huge factor in your ability to be creative with your style and to even really have a style that you like. And here's a perfect example. This one I see time and time again. When somebody has gained a lot of weight, or even if they've gained more weight than what they're used to, you see a decline in their style. And it happens not because of the options, even though the options that you have do play a part in it, right? And we're not going to talk about that today because that's a whole subject that deserves its own time. But let's just say that you're not in a place where you don't have no options at all. You may have fewer options, but you don't have no options at all. But because of how you feel about yourself, because you haven't forgiven yourself for gaining that weight, you haven't forgiven yourself for maybe how you were eating that led to this, even though a lot of times it's not even really about the eating. But we put that on ourselves anyway. So let's say you just never forgiven yourself for this new body that you have. You haven't given yourself grace for, you know what, I carried this child for 9 months, and of course my body's going to be different. And instead of being proud of where we are now, we start fighting our way back to get back to the body that we used to have. I'm trying to get back to me, trying to get back to where I was. And all of that shame, all of that unforgiveness makes it hard for you to actually get dressed because you don't feel worthy of it. Even when you're like, I'm gonna buy this dress and I'm gonna save this dress for when I get my body right. Like when I'm at this weight, when I'm at so and so weight, then I can wear that dress. And that's something that I typically advise against, because while it can be motivating, I find that more people get discouraged by that than they do motivated by it, because it is not positive reinforcement. It's actually kind of negative. It actually kind of feels like punishment, like you can't have this until you get there. And again, this is not to say that there aren't other factors that impact it, but one of the biggest things is the forgiveness piece. And here's how it works when it comes to fashion, kind of like the Hot Ones show. What you mean by that? So when you feel like, although I'm not where I want to be, I deserve to look my best where I am. Not only am I accepting where I am, but I'm going to choose to celebrate what I do love about myself. I'm going to choose to dress the body that I have right now because this body deserves to look good. It deserves to look its best. Even that simple shift in your mind, it starts to make you more creative with your clothes, because instead of looking at a picture of an outfit that you really like and saying, oh, well, she can only wear that because she's a size 6, or she can only wear that because she has an hourglass body type, you think, how can I make that work for me? So then now this is your creativity at work. This is how it happens, y'all. Like, you be asking, people ask me all the time, like, how do you come up with this stuff? How do you come up with these ideas? I give myself permission. I'm delusional enough to believe that if I see it, I'm going to get it. Especially when it comes to clothes. Like, that's my mindset. If I see it and I want it, I'm going to figure out how to get it. And I'm going to get it because I not I maybe it is like I deserve to have it, but it really is just like I want it. So I'm going to get it. And there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to have it, right? Like I don't see a reason why that can't be me. And that's the kind of attitude that makes you more creative, because you're not being held back by shame. You're not being held back by resentment, but it's actually fueling your creativity, because now, what I say earlier about creativity is problem solving. The problem that's present, I want this. How do I get it? And then the solution, that's where the creativity bridges it, the problem to the solution. Okay? And when I see that click start to happen in people, they don't see limitations. They just see, this is where I need to pivot, or this, I need to rework this. They see opportunities, right? Like, okay, these are maybe the guidelines, but I'm still going to get what I want. And that is what I'm that's what I'm praying, that as y'all listen to me, that you start to see what it is that forgiveness, or unforgiveness rather, has been holding you back from doing, and how it really does, as much as this, you probably get tired of hearing it, it really does like start up here, but more importantly, it starts in here. What's in here that's holding up space? What's in here that's making it where I can't solve this problem because I'm still holding on to the way that it worked out the last time, right? Oh, interviews under the stress factor. I got you. Yeah, you feeling me, Adrian? Listen, y'all, I really have been I've been on one with this because I feel this one so passionately. So before I go on to our next part, and as actually our next part is going to be a breakdown. So I'm going to give you 3 ways, 3 indicators to know that forgiveness is messing with your creativity. Okay. I'm going to give y'all 3 ways that you can know it, and it's going to be specifically the content. So I'm really excited to break that part down for you. But before I get into that, I want y'all to tell me what's your personal version of mental clutter? Like, what does it look like when what example do you have physically that reminds you of that clutter? For me, I tend to go to fashion first. And the first thing that comes to my mind is it is a closet that needs to be detoxed. So especially like when you when you're behind on laundry, let me use that as an example instead. I feel like that happens like at least once a month. not, if not more often. I get behind on laundry. I'm currently behind on laundry. Lord help me. And I got the clothes in a basket, and I got to go and I got to wash the clothes, right? So let's compare that to it's there, that basket. I pass that basket every time I go into my room, and it's just like eating at me. Like in the back of my head, I know I gotta wash these clothes. But it's not just the washing of the clothes, right? It's the washing the clothes, the drying the clothes. Sometimes I gotta put it through another cycle in the dryer. Then I gotta take the clothes out. Then I gotta fold them or hang them. Then I gotta put the clothes away. It's all of the steps that comes after it. So let's compare again. Going into the room, seeing the basket, that's me recognizing the things that are holding me back. Like that's where I'm like, okay, I haven't forgiven this, I haven't forgiven that. This is the basket, my metaphorical basket of unforgiveness. And so taking it and putting it in the washing machine in the dryer is me saying, okay, you know what? I am going to accept that this is true. I'm going to accept that this has been a fear that I'm holding on to, and I am ready to let it go. Right. And hence the cleansing. So like the washing of the clothes is a washing away of the things that I haven't forgiven. They got to go through that. I'm accepting it. Maybe it gets a little emotional. I start crying about it. Whatever. Go into the dryer, dry it off. And I'm trying to think of what I would compare that to, but I feel like I would probably lump all that together. So we've acknowledged the unforgiveness. We have made the choice to forgive, and now we're at the place where the clothes are clean, the things have been forgiven, but now I have to start to put it in its proper place, right? I got to start actually removing it and putting it where it needs to be, so that I can now have that space again. I can now have this basket empty. I can save this basket for my creativity. So I'm putting the clothes away, but this is probably the part for most people. It's definitely the part for me where things start to get a little crazy, because it's not as simple as I wash the clothes and now they're just going to magically go in that basket. I have to do the work to get them clothes folded and put away. And that part can feel so daunting and so scary because it looks messy. It looks like, bro, ugh, I gotta go through this. Then that's how it starts to feel. Like that's literally how forgiveness feels. Like it's not like this great moment where it's just like, it's gone and now my life is so great and I just feel so much lighter. It's like, no, now I gotta experience this now. I gotta start figuring out, what does my life look like? How do I move differently now that I've forgiven it? Because the thing that they don't tell you is that once you forgive, you now got to go and do the thing that you were scared to do. You got to start moving like you got some things to do. You got to start acting a little bit differently. You may have to, be a little bit more disciplined in certain areas. You may have to start doing things that scare you, but you know that it's taking you closer towards what it is that you desire, what it is that you're working towards. You got to start taking some risks, because now I've forgiven it. I'm allowing myself to have new experiences. So now I have to actually do the thing that's going to provide that experience. And so that's the comparison that I would have for folding the clothes and putting them away, right? And then finally, we got the clothes, they're folded, they're put away, and now we're at the place where the basket's empty, And now I can think again. I have the space to tackle the things that I really care about, because this thing that I really needed to go ahead and take care of a week ago or months ago or years ago is finally been addressed. And I'm saying it that way, y'all, not to make you feel shame for holding on to things, because we hold on to things. Sometimes you literally just don't think about it. And sometimes I don't think about laundry, which is how it ends up getting so behind. It's always there, like in the back of my mind, but it's not always a active thought like laundry, laundry, laundry. I'm not always literally thinking about it, but it's always there. It's always like a, oh dang, I'm reminded of that again, right? And so that's the comparison that I have, and I love that. I love that metaphor, because the messy part of it is really the place where I want you to know that it's okay that it gets worse, seemingly gets worse before it gets better, but you have to go through that part. Like, you have to endure that part, because that's what's going to really give you the space and the freedom to be creative. But that's the part that most people don't want to do, because forgiveness can be messy, and it can be exhausting, and it can feel like, am I doing it right? Like, did I really forgive? Or even worse, maybe you do get the courage to try the thing again, and maybe it still doesn't work how you want it to. Does that mean that you stop, or does that mean that you find another way to go for your plans, right? And so all of this is, yes, it's like cyclical. Like, I think there's going to always be new things to forgive, but what I will say that hopefully encourages y'all is that the more that you get into the habit of doing it, the easier it becomes. Okay. So I'm really excited to get into the different ways that it can show up as you are creating, especially when it comes to creating content. But before I get into that, I see Adrian has said something. So I want to see your example. So Adrian said that clutter that is distracting me from seeing everything clearly, putting away the clothes, clearing off the counter in the bathroom. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, what is it with the counter? Why does it always feel like it's stuff on the counter? Like, who's responsible for this? Even though it'd be you, but you still gotta blame somebody else. Like, I don't want to be responsible for that. I love that metaphor though, Adrian. Thank you for sharing. All right. So, are y'all ready to get into the breakdown? Are y'all ready for it? Are you excited? You're probably not too excited, because it is going to feel a little exposing, but it's going to be good. Okay. It's going to be good. I promise. So, here are the 3 signs that your brain might be cluttered with unforgiveness, and is stopping you from being able to think clearly and to be creative. The first one is rumination. And I like to compare rumination to sticking to the same outfit. If you're always wearing the same outfit over and 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 over, and it feels like you have a uniform, that's the equivalent of rumination. And just like a quick definition, rumination is when you have a thought that you can't let go of. It just replays over and over and over and over and over in your head, to the point where you get tired of thinking about it. But now you're thinking about being tired of thinking about it. Now you're still thinking about it. And you go to sleep thinking about it. Then you wake up and you're like, ugh, this day, because you was thinking about it in your sleep. Like, that's what rumination basically is. And so it's like the equivalent of going back on your ideas, or going back to what you feel works, or maybe it doesn't work, but you just don't even know what else to do. Like, you're just like continuously doing the same thing over and over. And so it can look like, when it comes to creating, it can look like avoiding doing the kinds of things, like the kinds of videos, creating the kinds of services, launching that program, that offer. You're avoiding designing that dress, or that jacket. You're avoiding doing anything that's new, for the fear of it not working out. Okay. If any of these feels like you, just put a me in the chat, or yes, I feel like that's where I'm at. And if you're not, that's cool too. Put no. It doesn't, it's okay if that's not where you're at. But I want you to kind of use this as a way to gauge, okay, am I starting to see these signs? And also pay attention to how often you feel that it happens if you do relate to this. For some people, it might be a here and there situation, but for some people, for others, it actually is a barrier. It happens so often. You feel like it happens every time you go to make something new, every time you go to create something, every time you go to record something. It feels like you're just thinking over and over and over again, and you're seeing these ideas that other people are doing, and you're like, man, that's so creative, that's so cool. I would love to do something like that, but you're not doing it, right? And that's where the rumination comes from. Or the fear of not being able to sustain. That's a good one too. Yeah. That definitely would go into, that could go into rumination. It could go into all of these though. That could be behind all of them. That's a good one. The next one is over editing. So number one was rumination. Number two is over editing. And over editing, I like to compare that to you trying on a bunch of different stuff on an outfit, a bunch of different ways to style an outfit, or trying on a bunch of different outfits, but you hate all of them. Has anybody felt that before? I feel like I've had that a couple of times. A couple of times. And it's just like, what is it? Like, why is everything the wrong thing? That's what over editing is like. And you end up doing this because you feel like nothing is good enough. So you're taking action, yes, but you're delaying the actual posting. You're delaying the actual launch, the actual release of this thing because you're continuously going back trying to fix it. Right? So maybe you got a bunch of drafts in your folder, or maybe you got a bunch of videos, a bunch of clips that you recorded. Or, ooh, perfect example. I posted a video a couple of weeks ago with me and Kayla, and we were talking about the collective, the Getting Unshy Collective. And in that video, in the video, the content of the video was actually, I was fine with that. Like, I was like, this is good stuff. And I could listen to it all day, but I was so frustrated because the entire video was out of focus. It was out of focus. It was so out of focus. I felt embarrassed looking at it because I was like, this is not the quality that I'm used to producing. What happened here? Right? And so I delayed posting that video for a good week and a half because I kept going back to it. Okay, let me add this to it. Let me edit this. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me fix this. Let me do that. And then at a point, I was like, Jada, this video got to go out. This video got to go out. And if you don't like this one, you can always do another video. But this video has to go out. I don't care how you feel about it no more. You have edited as much as you can. You have made it as crispy as it's going to get. You got to post this video. And so I ended up posting it. I was happy with the thumbnails. Like, the thumbnails, like, a little bit better because I had some other content that we had recorded that day that I was able to use for the picture for the thumbnails. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to take what I can get because I can't keep trying to edit this video. But there are so many times where the video never makes it. And even with that, with me, that's a process that ideally I'm going to shorten it. I'm going to shorten the time. No matter how I feel about the video, I am shortening the time between the idea and the execution because over editing hijacks your creativity. It hijacks it. And you feel like you're being more creative and you're adding all these nice bells and whistles. No, you're doing too much. Too much because you feel like it's not good enough. And I think that's like the biggest indicator is that when you feel like it's not good enough, it's still not perfect. It still can't go out. If you feel like it has to be perfect, let's just sum it up like that. If you feel like it has to be perfect to go out, you are overthinking it. You're over editing it. You need to just put it out. There's always the next video. You feel attacked? I don't think you told me that lately, but I told y'all I'm always in y'all business. I'm just gonna stay in y'all business. I love y'all though. I love y'all. Are y'all ready for number 3? Are we ready? I know it's a little. Can I handle more? This is the last one though. This is the last one. Last example. Okay. The last one is hesitation. Okay. And I like to compare hesitation to having new pieces that you just will not wear. Like all of these great pieces, that jacket that's got the tag on it still. I'm not gonna go too hard on that. Y'all know what I'm talking about though. You got stuff that still got tags on it. Ain't never been taken out. Ain't never been out for a spin. That's the same thing as hesitation. And it can be influenced by a lot of things. You can feel like you want to save it for a special occasion, which is basically perfectionism, which again is killing your creativity. But you can also feel like maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe you bought that piece and you were like, oh, like this is so bold, it's so fun, it's different than what I usually do, but I really want to do it, I really want to wear it. But you hesitate, you made the step. Again, this is the part that's always so tricky, is that you are taking action, you are taking steps, but you can't go further. And that's the part that you're coming up against. Like you can't push it further than that. Like if you feel like you're always hitting a limit, that's the part where the forgiveness comes into play. And that's how, that with all of these things, that's how you can catch it. If it feels like you can only go so far, if you feel like you keep hitting a block, then these are the things, this is when you can notice, oh, this is not just me being mindful or thoughtful, this is actually holding me back, right? And so creatively, this can look like ideas that stay in your notes app on your phone, never make it to video, never make it out into the world, stays on your phone. Or it can be the video idea. Maybe you weren't even like you were afraid to even write it down. Like you're like, I thought of the idea, but no, I can't do that. Like that's too crazy. Like me doing a skit, I'm not funny enough for that. I'm not creative enough. I don't edit well enough for that, right? We think of all the reasons why the actual thing can't be done. Or I'm not funny enough, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not young enough. Whatever it is that you are not enough of, that's where the hesitation comes into play. And this is another thing, even just hearing it, you can see how that literally stops your creativity, because creativity needs a space. Exactly. Nothing wrong with a soft launch. Creativity needs space to actually exist, right? Ideas, the ideas aren't meant to stay in our head because we can't improve them, we can't refine them, we can't see what they actually look like in theory. We have to actually do the things. And that's why I love the comparison of creatives being almost like scientists, like approaching the things that you do like experiments, because experiments, you're just gathering information. You're just seeing what happens if I do this. If I put this and this together, what does that look like? If I say this way, what's the response? Okay, let me try it this way now. How do people respond to that? And it actually has to be put out into the world in order to be refined, in order to grow, in order to be tested, in order to be understood. So the creativity in our minds, the things that we can imagine and dream of, are amazing, but they can't really be great in our heads. They have to be put into the world. And so these are the things: rumination, over editing, and hesitation. All right. Those are the three things that are the signs that that forgiveness or unforgiveness is hijacking or killing your creativity. I don't like saying killing, because I do feel like that is extreme. But I think that there are some people that are at a place where you've gotten so used to telling yourself to be quiet and telling yourself no and saying you can't do that and saying nah, not yet, not you, or it's not good enough. You've gotten to the point where you've told yourself no so much that you don't even know what yes looks like. And that's why you don't feel creative. That's why you feel confused. That's why you'll get excited about something and you'll get to one part, like one point to it, but then it feels like I can't take it no further than this. It feels like you can, but it feels like you can't because you've gotten so used to telling yourself, no, you can't do that. Not you, not yet. It's not good enough. It's not enough, right? So, out of those three, which one would y'all say feel the most familiar to you right now? Let me know in the comments. I won't call you out on it or press you on it or nothing like that. But I would love to know if one stands out to you more than the others, or maybe it's all three. Maybe it feels like they just like taking turns just beating you up. But I would be interested to see. I think that mine, the one that I feel the one that I feel would be the most likely trap for me would be rumination, because I get ideas and then I have to execute them. Otherwise, they will just kind of like stay turning around in my head and I'll get real excited about it and I'll be feeling it in my heart and I'll be like, "Oh, I really want to do this." But then I don't actually do anything with it. So that's why I am the way that I am. Whereas I get the idea, I gotta figure out how to do this. Because if I don't, it's definitely gonna be mulling over. Hmm. That's a short. You told yourself no so often you don't know what yes looks like. Okay. Have fun in the success space. I will definitely pull that. I'm gonna put this through Opus clips. Actually, I'm gonna use that clip. Thank you for calling that out. Okay, so we talked about the different ways that it shows up. I've told y'all about the research. We've done all the heavy work. We've talked about that already. But one thing that I want you to know, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but with the clothes metaphor, but one thing I want you to know is that forgiveness really does it does get lighter, but you have to be willing to go through it. Okay? But it absolutely gets lighter. I feel like after that week, there's there's so many different ideas that have come to my mind since then, that not only have they come to my mind, but I have been executing those things. So many things that I've been thinking, oh, that would be a good idea to do. Maybe I should try this out. Maybe I should do this. And right now it's like, no, just go. Like just do it. Just try it. Wherever you are with whatever you have right now, just make it happen. And that's where I've been lately. And I know for a fact it is because I was willing to say, I forgive myself for this, because most times it is us forgiving ourselves. I forgive myself for this. I release it. And now I want to take steps towards doing the thing that was once scaring me. Okay. So I want you to be encouraged by that. And I want you to know that it is as simple as going through the process of forgiveness. All right. And one thing that's really cool, thank you, Adrian. One thing that's really cool is that the steps to forgiveness is actually inside of Getting Unshy, inside of the Getting Unshy Collective. It's also inside of my book, Getting Unshy. I want to show it to y'all, but I also don't want the other book to fall over. Let me see. Oh, nice. Okay. It is inside of my book, Getting Unshy, which is the framework that the collective is built off of, because I realized early on how important forgiveness was for creativity. And I don't even remember what it was in my life that like brought this revelation to the forefront, but it's literally steps to forgiveness. And I think I might have taught on this before a few times, but there's a framework that shows you step by step how to forgive. because it sounds cool to talk about it. And I know people get excited. They're like, ooh, I want to forgive. Or I not necessarily, they don't want to forgive, but they want what forgiveness brings to you. And I think that that's all that matters. Whether you really want to forgive or not, what is on the other side of forgiveness? That's what people desire. And so you want to join the collective. This is my invitation once again to join the collective, where not only will we be working through forgiveness and how to apply it to your creativity, we're going to also be working on being consistent with creating, because consistency and creatives, we be struggling with being consistent in the right stuff. I know, I've lived it. So we're gonna work on creativity, consistency, forgiveness, and most importantly, you feeling confident in being you. Because not only do we need more creativity, we need more people who are actually willing to be themselves, even if it's different than the status quo, because that makes it even better. So that's what the collective is all about, supporting entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs in that journey. Because what I found that most times creatives, they need space to be themselves, to express themselves. They need accountability to be consistent, to stick to what they're doing. And you also need encouragement. And that's one thing that sometimes we feel bad about needing encouragement, but that we're humans, like we need to be encouraged. And you might feel like you need to be encouraged every day, and so what? And so what? Every day it might feel like I don't know how I'm gonna do this, and that just might be where you are right now. There's nothing wrong with you. And so having a space where that's okay, like that's not only is it okay, it's normal. That's what the collective is about, of course, paired with an actual framework. So exercises that help you to create content more consistently, to take chances, and to use your voice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a whole separate thing just on that alone. But the collective is open, and I also created this, like a little, like, you probably don't care, but I care, and I hope that you like it. But I did create a video for you, an introduction video that also breaks down the 3 C's, which you will find out what the 3 C's mean and why it's important to you inside of that video. And you'll also get to hear about the about Kayla, Kayla the Angel, Kayla Wallace. She is going to be the resident guide inside of the collective. And she is also somebody who's gone through the collective before. So you get to hear about her experience as well. So all of that is inside of the page. I will put the link to it in the description box by the time you watch the replay of this. And I'm looking forward to seeing the people that are meant to be in that space. I hope that y'all have an amazing weekend. Enjoy it the best that you can with everything that's happening in the world. I hope that you still find a little piece of joy, a little piece of peace, a little space, something that just makes you feel good about yourself, about where you are, about what you're capable of doing, or maybe just being around people that make you feel good. Whatever that thing looks like, I hope that you get to experience that this weekend or make time to experience that. And I will talk to y'all in the next video. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Adrian, for hanging out, for commenting. It's always good to see your name pop up. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Soul of a Man. If you were in here and I didn't say your name, I didn't know you were here, but I thank you for being here too. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.